Welcome back to Forasen Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about Farmmi. In this video, we're going to go towards technical analysis, due diligence, and what we can anticipate in the next couple of weeks or so. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. Now, for this stock, I did talk about this one before, and we do have a bit of different updates that I do want to talk about. So we've seen this one before on September 29th, 2021. And this was actually talking about the tremendous progress that this company has had in the last 20 years. Now, if you don't know about Farmmi and this is the first video you're watching, well, welcome aboard on the channel. And basically, Farmmi is a company that is working with agricultural products in China as a supplier. And they basically, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. Now, Farmmi itself has made tremendous progress in the last 20 years. And some of the steps that they've actually taken to really advance this company, including, and not limited to these here, acquisition of Jiangxi Xiangbo Agricultural and Forestry Development and Moso Bamboo, which is basically, these are some of the species under this acquisition, Camellia oleifera, Chinese fir trees, and the acquisition base effectively ensures all purity and quality of camellia oil, and forest land above will also become an important raw material base for the company. Also, the expansion of health and wellness businesses. In addition, community group purchasing distribution network, and much more. For instance, they're excited to be in a new phase of growth in Farmmi, and they're actively pursuing an expanded business strategy with greater opportunities for revenue and profit growth. Now, let's dive a little bit into how that looked in the last few quarters. So first off, we have their total assets. We're able to see that their total current assets has actually increased a little bit in the last quarter. When you're looking into the last two quarters, which is in 2021 and 2020 respectively, quarter 2 and 4 respectively as we're speaking, there's no information here for quarter 1 on this platform, but we're able to see that the assets increased slightly as we get to see from quarter 3 2020 all the way to what we have in quarter 2 2021. That's an increase from around 31.7 million to around 48 million. So that's a nice increase. Their total debt has increased just a little from 3.7 to 5.3 million. So it is a bit of an increase, but when you look into the total assets increase are a lot bigger than the total debt increase. But in terms of proportions, it's kind of almost the same percentages in general. Total liabilities are somewhat stable as you get to see. It hovers between 9.4 and 7.8. Now, in terms of their recent revenues, we're able to see that it's somewhat stable. You get to see in quarter 4 2019, they had 16.4. Currently, in the last quarter, 17.78, and the one before was 16.5. So it's similar to what we've seen previously. It's kind of on a similar trend. And on the other part here is you're seeing operating income. It dipped quite a bit in 2020, and that is expected with a lot of the supply chains being really put into a grind, into a halt. So it's kind of understandable with COVID and everything. But currently what we're seeing is that we're currently back towards pre-COVID era in terms of their operating income. So that on its own is good for the time being. Now, in terms of net income, this one appears to be in the last quarter and in quarter 4 2020 hitting positive net income, and that on its own is actually very bullish for a company such as this one. Now, that's definitely showing a really good improvement where they're trying to figure out, or they actually figured out the majority of their net income issues, and that is in relation towards the expenses. It could be because things are gotten a bit more expensive with some of their products, but in general, that is a good move to go for a company like this. Before moving on to other fundamentals, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications on for this channel. Don't forget to drop the like button if you've actually enjoyed this video. And if you want to go ahead, step forward and join our Discord, totally free in the description below. But we're not trying to upsell in anything. It's basically a chat room. Now, the price over sales here is around 3.15. Now, there's a big thing that you need to consider on this: the price over sales, the price over book, and the earning per share. They're on something called TTM. even though this says MRQ, DTM is right here as well, which is basically on a yearly perspective, except the price over book is actually on the last quarter, and that's 0.28. So the SP 500 price over book is around 4.68. Now, of course, this is insanely high compared to the historical average, but you're able to see that there's a massive difference between 0.28 and 4.68. That's a multiples times more. It's around 4.4 additional to what you're seeing here. Anyway, so really undervalued on the price over book. The price over sale, which is 3.15, and that's based on last year's results on the 2020, and we've seen the 2021 look so far a lot better than 2020, around 3.15, and that is around 3.15 on the SP 500, so spot on with the SP 500 average. Now, I do anticipate with 2021 results coming up, this number would decrease significantly for the price over sales, given the same kind of price action that we're going on right now. Now, another thing I do want to talk about is their current compliance. A lot of people forget to talk about that. So on here, they said on June 3rd, 2021, they basically were going for compliance and didn't reach compliance as their price was $1. Less than $1 for 30 consecutive business days, and they need to reach $1 for a minimum of 10 consecutive business days. So their deadline for that is November 30th, 2021. So they still have around a month and a bit, almost 2 months. And some of the solutions that companies do in order to meet that is a reverse split. Now, reverse split is never really good for our stock price. We do see on a continuous basis that stocks do usually dip if they had a reverse split. Now, they also reached actual compliance before, back on January 12, 2021, and that was something else to consider, but they lost it again. Keep in mind that they also raised a bunch of offerings between that time and now, and that is one of the reasons why this stock has dropped in price from previous histories. Now, if we were to take a look into institutional buyers, Wedbush Securities added 20,000 shares on the 7th of October. Other than that, it's the last significant one was Versha Financial, around 202,000 shares on the 17th of September. The short interest ratio currently has 0.02 days to cover, and the dark pool short volume is around 85 million shares, around 48% off the total volumes that we're seeing. Now, currently, there's around 10 million short shares availability, and there is currently a short borrow fee rate of around 11.12, which is really considered cheap considering other stock options. Now, let's move on towards technical analysis now. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, there's a few things I do want to talk about. Now, in general, the technical indicators are a bit on a sit still, as you get to see in the moving averages. You got the 10 SMA, 50 SMA, and the 30 MA, almost all in the same ballpark, really showing nothing more than accumulation. ADX is at 2123, not showing any kind of movement in either direction. You see this white line or cursor I'm putting, it's very much stable. It hasn't deviated much from that line. On another part, William percent R, which is very similar to the RSI, is neutral. It's neither overbought or oversold. The MACD, however, and momentum are dipping a little bit downwards than their highs, and that could be a little bit concerning, because it could suggest that the stock price is retracting significantly, or would retract significantly if it doesn't see a massive green candle after this accumulation. Now, this is kind of always self-told, but you get to see volumes are drying up on the MACD, and similarly momentum. Now, stochastic fast and stochastic slow, however, are suggesting that there might be another leg up for this one. Almost all 4 lines here are pinpointing upwards, suggesting that we might actually see a reversal into this one. Now, currently, the Bollinger Bands and the moving average bands are kind of dipping downwards, and you get to see that the unbalanced volumes are slowing down and dying down, suggesting that there's not a lot of activity going into this one at this level. Now, on the Fibonacci retracements, these are key supports and resistances that are important to consider in addition towards the traditional supports and resistances. Current support is at 31 cents and then 20 cents below there. Resistances are at 38, 43, 48, 56, and 66. From a price line action, we're able to see there's significant supports at the 35 cents, 34 cents below there, around 30 cents as well, and then 28, going down to 26 cents, 24, and then down to 22, and around 20 cents at the end. Resistances, significant one is at 37, and then 39, going upwards to 43 and 44. Finally, a really hard one to break would be the 49 cents one, and then following that 53, and then 58, and then around 60 and 66 cents. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen here soon? Well, it's definitely interesting to look at this stock, and I've previously covered it, I believe, around this candle here, and I said this looks like a doji star. It's probably going to drop down, and it did. Now, currently, if you're able to see this one, you might be able to take a look into a trend on the 1 month, 1 hour perspective, and if you start drawing lines, you might start figuring out that there's currently a trend line, or actually multiple trend lines that we can hold it on. So this might be a trend line that we're holding on, and it is looking like it's growing into something. This might be a breakout soon, but it's really squeezing between 2 points. And if it does break around 40 cents, this might be a massive jump coming up. If it drops below 32 cents, this might be, or even 34 cents, this might be a little bit the end of it in terms of momentum for the short term. What do you think about the sticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments below what you think, and comment below as well on others. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.